At 5:40, I opened the door to a kid with boxes. His hands shook from cold and lack of sleep, and the bag of pastries looked ready to split right there on my porch. I stepped aside and nodded. "Come in, I can get coffee on." He smiled, grateful as a schoolboy, and crossed the threshold, leaving wet prints on the mat. I set the pot on, slid a couple of slices into the toaster, pulled strawberry jam from the fridge. In these early minutes, my day had meaning. Simple help, no bills, no strings. "Thank you, ma'am," he said, holding the mug in both hands. "You just saved my shift." "Good luck." I handed him a warm bag. "Easy on the bend by the pond. Black ice." The door had barely closed when heels chattered up the drive. Kira walked in without knocking, a tight red dress, jacket tossed over her shoulders, phone to her ear, fresh gloss on her nails. She scanned my kitchen like a manager taking over a shift. "Lydia, great news!" She brushed an invisible speck off the table. "This weekend we're hosting. 22 people. It's going to be epic." "Who exactly?" I turned off the burner. The pot sighed. "My family, friends from campus, one investor." Kira smiled into her front camera, filming herself. "Holiday vibes, you know?" I don't argue. I brew coffee, clean the sink, dry the mat. My house has always had room for guests, but I'm not a built-in feature. "Have we discussed this with Matvey?" I asked. "He'll say yes." She waved me off. "You're home anyway. You're the best at this. Turkey, salads, plating. A cleaner will swing by in the morning, but you'll make sure everything's perfect." "Kira," I set a mug in front of her, "this is my home and my day off." "Matvey's home," she corrected gently, "and mine soon. Not on paper yet, but we'll fix that. You don't mind helping family, do you?" I inhaled. A stub of Taylor's chalk lay on the sill. Yesterday, I'd marked hems on the neighbor boy's jeans. I sew cleanly. I love when fabric obeys. People, less so. I chose calm. I'm not against guests. I'm against being announced as the staff. Kira put the phone down. Something flickered across her face. "Don't dramatize. Without you, we can't pull it off. Well, you like this." I didn't get to answer. The front door thumped, and Matvey, my son, stepped into the kitchen. Tie crooked, takeout coffee in hand, a gray strand at his temple like his father's when we still repapered walls together. He kissed my temple without looking and hugged Kira. "Mom, please don't start," he said, before asking if I had. "It's one evening. Kira will handle it, and you'll do your thing like always." "Like always?" I echoed. "You know," he faltered. "Traditions. Your salads, your table. We're family." Family hit like a request and an order at once. I remembered last year, scrubbing the oven at dawn while they danced barefoot by the tree at night. No one asked if the woman holding the holiday together had a back that hurt. I smiled to keep the tears down. "Fine," I said. "First I'll take Stan to the clinic, the dog sneezing again. Then I'll stop by the warehouse store. Does Kira have the lists?" "Oh, finally." Kira rustled her phone. "I'll share the board. 3 turkeys, 4 desserts, cocktail station, silver decor, bar stool rental." I listened to water drain and thought how my home had turned, quietly, from shelter into a project space for other people. I capped the mug to hold the heat and caught my reflection in the glass. Silver bangs, thin lips, hands with tiny knife nicks. I used to cut fabric and make a dress in an evening. Now, I stitched their holidays for free. That was when I first understood, sharply. They take me for granted, like tap water, like light, until it's gone. That evening, Jen from next door dropped in, returning containers with missing lids. "Bringing these back," she said with a guilty smile. Your soup is magic. Glad it helped, I said. How's work? Shift from hell. If you need me tomorrow, I can swing by for an hour. Thanks. Don't. I lowered my eyes. They think I've got it handled. She sighed. We both knew. Someone else's family is a swamp you don't want to wade into. At night, I woke to whispers through the wall. Kira and Matvey. She's comfortable, Kira hissed. Pension, house, garden. Let her work for real at least once. Kira, keep it down, he said, tired. We'll talk tomorrow. And Kira dropped her voice. Don't forget, we need a deposit for the apartment. The investor's coming. If he likes it, he'll invest. Your mom has to, try. I lay staring at the ceiling, counting breaths. My house, my savings, my kettle. They counted on like a self-resetting trick. I turned on my side. An old spring creaked like a door that always has someone behind it. I didn't sleep till dawn. In the morning, I scrubbed the sink with baking soda. Nerves always push me to clean. The cleaner arrived, May. She took off her gloves, looked at me. Lydia, I can say I'm sick if you want. You look tired? No, May, I smiled. Today, for the first time, we'll do less. Maybe nothing at all. She nodded and left early. I pulled a box with a blue seal from the hutch. House papers, copies of old bills, my will. I sat and stacked pages. Paper rustled like snow outside. Inside me were fear. And something else, forgotten and sharp. Anger. I called my daughter. We rarely speak. Olga has a new life on the other coast, her bills, her child. Mom, are you okay? She asked at once. Yes, I wanted to hear your voice. I'm on a call, she whispered. I'll ring back. The line died. I set the phone down, cold and heavy. I put on my coat and walked to the law office on the corner, the one with the ceiling fan that still spins and the ink smell. Old school Mr. Harden squinted at me. What are we protecting? My house, I said, and my right to say no. Clear as day, he nodded. We'll file homestead, set up power of attorney, notify the bank. And you'll want a private investigator, just in case. Case of what? When people say investor, they often mean whole. I signed with a steady tremor. My fingers still wrote neatly. Outside smelled of gasoline and wet cardboard. And suddenly, I felt like I was at the bottom of a well. Light above, water below. Only my own throat in my hands to scream with. I didn't scream. I went home and, for the first time in ages, turned both locks, loud enough to make the window glass twitch. You're seriously canceling the party? Kira stood in my bedroom doorway like an auditor. We've already told everyone. No, I folded a sweater. I'm canceling my participation. That's the same thing. She tightened her jaw. Who's cooking, cleaning, greeting? The adults who invited the guests, I said. Kira, I'm tired. Everyone's tired, she almost shouted. So now you're the victim? You always say, family means help. Family means respect. She sighed like she was hauling sacks of cement. Perfect. Just perfect. Matvey. My son came quickly, as if waiting in the hall. Mom, don't, he said, already guilty. We planned it. You did, I said. You planned my labor. You're making a tragedy. Kira poked the phone. It's one evening in exchange for everything. We're moving forward. We need support. Or, are you a carefree retiree? I sewed nights when you still lived in a dorm, I said, quietly. I paid off Matvey's card when he fell into a startup. I covered your debts with my time. 20 years. I'm tired. Matvey winced like at something sour. Mom, please. No, I said, cutting the word like bread. No. After lunch, a man with a velvet voice called. Good day, Mrs. Lydia. Name's Gary, private investigator. We met in a small cafe with windows on a busy corner. Gary put a slim folder on the table. You asked me to check a few things. Your son, clean. Your daughter-in-law. He cleared his throat. Multiple credit cards. A separate household account opened without your son's knowledge. Furniture rentals for events, and a request to a realtor for a preliminary valuation. Your address. Sale? I asked. Hypothetical. But the photographer met her. There were plans. I gripped the iced cup till cracks ghosted through the cubes. What about the investor? No investors. There's Kira's relative, Uncle Oscar. Well off, likes flashy gatherings. He's in town. Good, I said. Thank you, Gary. Careful. People who lie don't like mirrors. The house smelled of vanilla and nerves. I moved family photos, took their wedding portrait off the table, put up a frame with little Matvey in a rusty cap. I called the cleaning service and canceled. I carried the fine china to a storage locker off the highway, slipped the key into my coat pocket, and, for the first time in months, felt the air remember my name. At night, I drafted an email to Uncle Oscar, Cousin Letty, Kira's brother Nate. I wrote evenly, even politely. Dear all, delighted you're coming. Holidays are for honesty. I'm attaching a few documents so there's no misunderstanding. Sincerely, Lydia. I attached 2 statements, the one where household covered boutique receipts and the one with the home valuation request. I knew exactly what I was doing, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like I was at the wheel. At 6 a.m., a taxi blinked its headlights at my gate. I left a note on the kitchen table. The house is in your hands. I'll return when I want to. L. I shut the fridge. Empty, shelves shining like a showroom case. I'd sent the perishables to the community kitchen yesterday, where they serve hot dinners at night. Not out of spite. I finally bought myself 2 weeks of quiet. Airport? The driver asked. No, I smiled. The coast, a small inn by the pier. The room was bright with winter sun. I opened the window and listened to the surf peel the foam, like blood in the ears. A brochure lay on the table with a map of the cliff path, a key to the gym, a spa card. I set my phone to silent and went to breakfast. Eggs. Benedict, grapefruit, black coffee. I ate slowly, rehearsing a new life. At 10:47, the phone lit up through sleep mode anyway. Where are you? Matvey. This is unprofessional. Kira. Unknown numbers, voice messages. I didn't listen. I opened a notebook and wrote on the first page, what's mine? No. My door, my keys. At 11:30, I got a reply from Oscar. Lydia, thank you. We're on our way. We'd like to talk earlier. Can we come at 8 a.m.? I typed. Of course. The hosts are Matvey and Kira. Better they explain. Oscar answered at once. Exactly what we need. I closed the laptop and lay back on the bed, hands behind my head. The waves hit evenly, like a heart that had stopped tripping. The next morning, right at 8, the front desk rang. Ma'am, Mr. Oscar is calling. Says it's urgent. I took it. Lydia, he said without hello. You're not home? No. I looked at my palms. Clean. I'm on vacation. I see. We were just there. The house is empty. No food, no place settings. Your daughter-in-law says you sabotaged everything. True? The truth is, no one asked if I wanted to do it, I said. I'm 66. I'm not the help. You're right, he paused. We need to talk to Kira and Matvey. Do. I looked at the white line of surf. They've needed an adult conversation for a long time. After lunch, Letty called. Dry, precise voice, and accountants. Lydia, all the purchases check out, plus household, plus the home valuation. This, she sighed, doesn't look like an accident. It doesn't, I agreed. Parties, like marriages, don't survive on lies. At 3, I finally opened Matvey's voice notes. In the first, he whispered fast, "Mom, pick up. Everyone's here. What do we do?" In the second, "Please, at least tell me where the china is." In the third, his voice shook. "They're asking questions." Oscar showed statements. "Kira says you set this up." I turned off the audio and walked to the beach. The sand was cold as glass. Gulls traded looks, unimpressed with my boots. At the pier, an old man fished, squinting into the wind. We nodded. 2 people with their own business. An hour before sunset, I asked the desk for a driver, just to ride past my street, not to interfere, to watch. Sometimes the finale matters more than rehearsals. We parked at the far end. Every light was on. Stretched plastic grocery bags lay in the yard. A pizza truck idled in the drive. People on the steps argued with their hands. I couldn't hear words, but I saw colliding tones. Hurt, fear, pretending, fatigue. "Everything okay?" the driver asked. "Perfectly." I closed my eyes. At last. Morning rang, hard and bright. I drank coffee by the window and turned my phone on. Messages like wet autumn leaves, many and sticky. First, from Oscar. "We need your voice. 5 minutes to dot the I's." I called back. It was noisy. Someone argued in raised tones. "Lydia? Oscar here. Can you confirm you handled all previous dinners alone?" "Yes," I said evenly. "Stockpot, 2 ovens, nights on my feet. I got paid in likes." "And," Letty cut in, "one more thing, the home valuation. Were you aware?" "No," I said. "I learned about it from your emails." Silence in the line, like after a shot. "This is a mess," Oscar exhaled. "Last thing, Lydia. Are you really—" He hesitated. "Retired? Really? Then forgive the question. You've earned a rest. We'll handle it." He hung up. I listened to the quiet and didn't think of victory. No. I thought about how the habit of being needed hides in a corner like a shadow, and how hard it is to drive it out. An hour later, Matvey called, his voice low, rough. "Mom, I'm here." He breathed out. "We had nothing to set the table with, no china, no food. They arrived with questions. I didn't know what to say." Kira cried. "Said you ruined everything." "I didn't ruin anything," I said. "I stopped being the cement holding your lies together." That was harsh. He went silent. But quieter now. "They showed me the cards. Kira opened accounts in my name, without me." "I know." "You know?" He sounded surprised, then let out a tired laugh. "Of course you know. You always do. And He swallowed a word. "I'm an idiot." "You're my son," I said. "And you've done plenty of foolish things to be liked. Now you have a choice." "What choice?" "Choose yourself and respect me." He said nothing. It was enough. That evening, Kira called me, for the first time in this whole circus. Her voice was a half step lower, like after a cold. "Lydia, sorry it's late. Can we meet?" "Why?" She paused. "Need to return something." We met at a roadside cafe that smelled of cinnamon and gas. Kira came empty-handed, sat, rubbed her forehead, glanced at me sideways. Oscar shut it all down. Letty sent emails. She pressed her lips. "I was made to look like a fool." "You did that yourself," I corrected, gentle. "When you live as a shop window too long, the glass breaks sooner or later." "Are you happy?" she asked suddenly. "Satisfied?" "I'm calm." She twisted a napkin. "I really thought you wanted to do it." Holidays, food, us. I thought you were part of our staff. Voluntary. I'm part of the family, I said. Not part of your scheme? I messed up, she exhaled. I have no excuses. I don't need them, I stood. I need boundaries. What kind? First, don't call me to order a life. Second, in my house, you're a guest, not a boss. Third, money isn't air, and a house isn't a chip to trade. And one more, if you want respect, start by stopping the lies. She nodded like each word was a nail. I stepped into the cold wind, breathed in until it hurt, and, for the first time in years, didn't look back. I came home a week later. Snow glowed on the lawn like old lace. The house was oddly quiet, like after a storm when trees still shake but don't tear the air. I swapped bulbs for warm light, hung a new shelf for jars, set a rosemary plant on the sill. I was picking my life back up, piece by piece. Matvey arrived that evening without calling, but with wine in a paper bag. He took off his cap and stood in the doorway. May I? You may. We sat at the table with tea. He turned the cup in his hands and kept his eyes down. I signed the homestead, he said, with Hardin and a document about the apartment. If we buy one, it won't be Title II. Anyway, it's fair now. I want, he looked up, to fix what I skewed. Thank you, I nodded. That's a grown-up step. Kira? He hesitated. She's at her sister's. Better without me right now. Me without her too. If we make it, we make it. If not, he stood. I'll be around. For you. Around doesn't mean on me. I smiled to take the edge off. But around? Yes. He hugged me tight, like a little boy scared of the dark. The next day, I took Stan for his shots, dropped soup to Jen, left a box of cookies at the community center. I signed up to volunteer Fridays, chop vegetables, and ladle soup. At home, I pulled my old dress form from a sack, wiped the dust, set it by the window. I remembered how fabric obeys the hand, how clean a knife sounds on linen. For the first time in years, I cut a pattern, a dress for myself. When the sun slanted across the table, the phone rang. Unknown number. Lydia? The voice was steady, kind. This is the community center. You offered to fix curtains? Yes. We're holding a benefit, and we were told you're the best. I smiled. I don't know if I'm the best. I know I keep pins in a little china jar. My scissors shine from sharpening, and my hands remember. And they know. Limits. I set the phone down, leaned on the table, and looked out the window. A sparrow perched on the neighbor's roof, small and stubborn. The wind rocked thin branches. Pigeons crossed the sky like lines of an invisible letter. I picked up a pencil and wrote in my notebook. I'm not somebody's function. I'm Lydia. I have a house, hands, a voice, and the right to say yes only when it's my yes. And suddenly, that sentence felt like the one I'd searched for all my life, but was afraid to say out loud. I whispered it, and warmth spread. Only now did I understand. Real strength is the right to be yourself.